Hey folks, Mike Dawkins from Worldcast Anglers here with your Jackson Hole fly fishing forecast for the weekend of June 27th and 28th. We've got the last weekend in June coming up. 4th of July is right around the corner, and we're cruising into our summer fishing season here with our Jackson Hole fly fishing forecast and everything at the Worldcast Anglers Fly Shop, and it feels pretty darn good to be here. Looking into this weekend, the big news is we've got a pretty big weather event coming up on Saturday and Sunday. We've got sort of some sporadic thunderstorms that are happening, Friday-ish, but Saturday we've got a high of 57, low of 37 with thunderstorms and a lot of rain. So we've seen up to half an inch. We've seen a quarter of an inch. I'd say something probably in between. The forecasts have been somewhat variable, but it's going to rain and it's going to rain a lot. So you know what? If it's going to do it, bring it. Pack your waders, pack your rain gear, pack some, some whiskey, whatever keeps you warm, to stay out on the water. But any and every opportunity that we get some precipitation, we'll take it with open arms. Sunday, we see the rain diminish a little bit. We've still got some cooler temperatures, high of 52, low of 36. And then looking into our 10-day, Monday and Tuesday of next week, we're going to start to see a gradual warm up and things drying out. We're going to be back in those low 80s, high 70s, and pretty typical Rocky Mountain summer weather as we head into the 4th of July week and weekend. We've got Palisades Reservoir at around 45% of capacity. As I said, that's probably going to be about it for this summer season. Jackson Lake, 88% of capacity. Very similarly, we're probably going to see that continually trickle down until we get to around September or October, where Jackson Lake's probably going to get pretty darn low. Couple shop events coming up that we'd like you to take note of. On June 30th from 3 p.m. until 8 p.m., we've got the Sims Working Wader Tour at the WCA Fly Shop. Those guys are going to be here. Bring down any Sims waders, Sims footwear, Sims gear that needs repair. They're going to take a look at it, do on-site repairs, and if something can't be fixed, they're going to facilitate that warranty work or help back at the Bozeman HQ for Sims there. As I said, we're going to have free beer for those 21 and up. We're going to have some great promotions on some Sims products, and every Sims retail purchase is going to be entered to win a new pair of Sims Drifter shoes. That's on June 30th. On July 8th, we've got the Rep Your Water Good Vibes Tour with our buddies Garrison Doctor and Kurt Kruger. Garrison is going to be here painting on live painting on a Yeti cooler, where we're going to be raffling that off, and all those proceeds are going to Friends of the Teton River here in our local community. We're going to have free beer for those 21 and up, and we're going to be offering some awesome Rep Your Water discounts and promotions that evening. That is July 8th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Into the fishing. We've got the South Fork of the Snake. Those flows have come up the past couple days, and they're trying to get to around 13,000 CFS coming out of Palisades Dam. The gauge down at Heise is a bit variable right now because those increases haven't settled out. South Fork, man, it's fishing really good, and it's been a lot of fun. I've been even, scooting out after work here and there, get some of the salmon fly bite. We've seen salmon flies, we're seeing golden stones, we're seeing some of the leftover drakes, we're seeing PMDs, we're seeing yellow sallies, and we're seeing caddis. So you're seeing everything over there. So that fishing has been really good. Later in the day, we're still seeing a lot of those bugs flying around, and it'll be interesting to see. I think it'll be a positive thing to see a little bit of a flow increase to around 13,000 CFS to spread things out. And I think we're not going to see like that be that or detrimental to our fishing conditions or anything like that. And I see it as a benefit. So South Fork of the Snake, top to bottom, stop listening, go fishing, get on it. It'll be really good. This weekend, I'd probably throw some streamers, looking for some bigger fish, especially with that rain and those overcast skies. Snake and Jackson, 5,000 CFS coming out of Jackson Lake Dam, 10,300 CFS on the lower river, going into Palisades Reservoir before the salt and the grays. As I've been saying in previous weeks, expect those higher than average flows for the rest of the summer season. So I'd be fishing a lot of big dry droppers, chubby styled flies with maybe a rubber leg, some perdigons, your tungsten, jig pheasant tails, Frenchies, any, type of stuff, to cut through those turbid flows and get those droppers deep and keep them in the zone. And the dry fly fishing, as our weather sort of gets more consistent and more stable, that dry fly fishing should get more consistent. Be aware of that landslide up there in Granite Creek. We're seeing some diminished clarity there around the Hoback. Nothing, quite, of emergency stature or anything like that. But take a look at those images, and it's quite impressive, that landslide up Granite Creek and what it's doing to the Hoback. A bunch of it's dissipating before it gets, by the time it gets to the river, but there's definitely a clarity change in the Hoback and some of that area on the lower Snake. Henry's Fork, we've got 1,260 CFS coming out of the box, 1,750 CFS there on the lower river. Once again, second week in a row, the Henry's Fork is really hanging in there with those, higher flows. The flows have been consistent, which has been really good. The lower river, we're seeing most of those, like those hatches, starting to fall into that early morning or late evening time period. There's probably a couple golden stones still around, caddis, PMDs, maybe a flav here and there, or a drake. That fishing has still been pretty darn good. And man, this weekend with these cooler temperatures and that rain, I'd look at the lower Henry's Fork as a gold mine. Moving up to Warm River to Ashton and even into sort of that lower Mesa Riverside sort of styled water, as dry droppers have been king in there and been a lot of fun. That place, it gets pretty busy during the salmon flies, and then going into the beginning of summer, it's a pretty lightly used place. So that would be something I would put on my radar. The ranch is still really good. Bit of a bug bonanza as well. Brown drakes, green drakes, flavs, PMDs, caddis. I'd be ready for any and all of it. 10, 12, 14-foot leaders. The fishing up there has been good due to those consistent flows and the consistent nature of the conditions we've been having. Box Canyon has been really good too. Dry droppers with golden stones and green drakes paired, with, your PMD split cases, your, Perdigons, Quildagons, purple quills, Duracells, any of that kind of stuff. The box is one of those things you can do it in a couple hours. You can milk it out and make it a whole day this time of year, especially with these flows. So don't count the Henry's Fork out yet. The Teton here in the valley, 647 CFS around Driggs, 881 CFS down there around St. Anthony. Top to bottom, very similarly, Teton's fishing really well. We're starting to see our dry fly fishing up here gain in some consistency as those water levels drop. You may see some diminished clarity if we do get a lot of rain. Not really sure, but I'd be ready with some drakes. I'd be ready with the occasional golden stone. Your yellow sallies, the beginning of the PMDs and the caddis. The lower river has been really good and really fun dry dropper style with leftover salmon flies, golden stones, and some of those other mayfly hatches, in that Dam to Hog Hollow section has been really good. We're starting to see that section, start to peter out there by the heat of the day, right there, 2 to 4 o'clock. So get on that early, fish it early, and you'll probably see that bug life, start to transition into that early morning and late evening period. That's all we've got around here. Some really good fishing opportunities coming into the last week of June. We've got those shop events coming up, which should be a lot of fun. Some opportunities to some great deals on some products in the fly shop, some free beer, support conservation, art, camaraderie, all good things that make the fly fishing industry so special and so much fun, especially in the greater Jacksonville region during the summertime. Once again, give us a thumbs up if you like our fishing report, and we'll throw your name in the hat to win a World Cast Anglers hat and some stickers and prize pack. We appreciate everybody's support. Have a great weekend out there on the water. Bundle up, stay dry, have fun. We'll see you here next week.